A very good evening and welcome to a brand new edition of News First Weekend, coming to you live from our News First studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Sri Lanka captain Dinesh Chandimal charged with ball tampering. Operation to relocate Singharaja elephants halted. Ravi Karunanayaka says the UNP needs new leadership. Surplus of over 7,500 in the cadre of public institutions. Finance Ministry says institutional heads will be held accountable during wage payments. 5 suspects arrested over attempted contract killing of Kirivehera chief incumbent. A News First expose on the Uma Oya project.
We start off with a look at the details in the cricket encounter between Sri Lanka and the West Indies. The International Cricket Council has charged Sri Lanka skipper Dinesh Chandimal with changing the condition of the ball during the ongoing second test versus the West Indies in the Caribbean. Meanwhile, issuing a statement, Sri Lanka Cricket announced that SLC, quote, stands firm in our commitment to protect the dignity of the national cricketers at all times, unquote.
In a tweet, the International Cricket Council noted that Sri Lanka captain Dinesh Chandimal has been charged for breaching level 2 to 9 of the ICC Code of Conduct. The ICC is, however, yet to release any video or images to the media confirming the charges against Chandimal. Shining the ball using saliva in order to generate more swing is a common and accepted practice among all cricketers at almost every level of the game. It is not considered an offence. Yesterday, on day 3 of the second test being played at the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia, the Sri Lankan team initially refused to take the field over the decision of the umpires to change the ball, citing that Sri Lankan players had changed the condition of the ball. On day 2 of the test, umpires examined the ball for evidence of tampering after suspecting Dhananjay De Silva of attempting to change the condition of the ball by rubbing it on his armbands. Following on this incident, the umpires had decided to change the ball overnight. The Sri Lankan team refused to take the field in protest while a heated discussion ensued between match referee Jawahal Srinath, Sri Lanka coach Shandika Hathurasinghe and Sri Lanka manager Asanka Gurusinghe. While the start of play was delayed by about 2 hours, umpires Alim Dar and Ian Gould had decided to award 5 runs to West Indies as a penalty. West Indies concluded their first innings all out for 300 runs. At stumps yesterday, Sri Lanka were 34 runs for the loss of 1 wicket. In their statement last night, Sri Lanka Cricket noted that they had been informed by the team management that the players were not involved in any wrongdoing. The statement reads, SLC advised the team to take to the field to ensure the continuity of the match and wish to commend the decision taken by the team to continue with the game under protest to ensure the upholding of the spirit of the game. Meanwhile, during a televised match analysis on the ongoing Australian tour of England, veteran cricketer Kumar Sangakkara had this to say.
I think everyone's a bit jumped, especially after what happened in South Africa. Of course, all of these things can be sorted out pretty quickly, I think, by having a good, solid conversation, getting everyone involved and making sure that whatever he said very clearly. It seemed all, everyone smiling, talking about it. Gould is saying what's happening here. The players being, very transparent, showing his hand. The team manager, the team coach, captain will have to get involved. And here we see them having an animated conversation. And I know Chandika Singha, he will actually go out there and be very strong and vociferous in presenting his case. But if there has been 5 penalty runs added, it changes the dynamics, and there has to be reasons and causes shown by, of course, Sri Lanka in their defence as to why, if there was any damage on the ball, how it could have happened. And the umpires themselves will have to be pretty certain, using the cameras as well, and make a very, objective decision.
Attorney-at-law Gomin Dastri, joining News First as a guest analyst on the West Indies tour, said he is willing to provide voluntary legal advice to the Sri Lankan team.
I think play in that session lasted less than 2 hours because the Sri Lankan players refused to take the field initially. An attempt was made to charge them with the offence of changing the condition of the ball, but the 5 runs were awarded to the West Indies as a penalty for the offence by the Sri Lankan team of failing to take the field on time.
There are many instances in which match fixing can take place. Matches can be fixed by cricketers, umpires and groundsmen. If the International Cricket Council is levelling allegations at Sri Lanka captain Dinesh Chandimal, then a proper investigation must be held and substantiable evidence must be presented.
One person has been killed during a brawl in Tellipalli, Jaffna after being purportedly shot at by a police officer in self-defense. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said 2 police officers who were en route to the Tellipalli hospital had intervened to stop a brawl between 2 groups when they had been set upon by men armed with swords. 2 people were injured in the brawl which broke out at the Makkalam junction. According to Gunasekara, the policemen had been escorting the body of a drowning victim to the Tellipalli hospital when they stopped to intervene and resolve the brawl. Police believe that the suspects who shot at and wounded chief incumbent of the Kataragama Kirivehera, Venerable Kobawaka Damminda Thera, were offered a contract to assassinate the Thera for 3 million rupees. 5 suspects who were taken into custody have been placed in remand custody on the orders of the Tissa Maharama Magistrates Court. Officers of the Tangol Division Crimes Investigation Unit arrested the chief suspect in the shooting and 2 others in Papaliana last night. Among those arrested was Asela Bandara, who had previously functioned as the chief custodian or Kapua of the Mahasen Devalaya at the Kirivehera.
A sister of the chief suspect resided in a house on that road. All 3 suspects were apprehended while they were travelling to this house. The other 2 were also believed to have aided and abetted the shooting.
2 more suspects were arrested in Kataragama this afternoon.
The shooting was carried out by 2 men using 2 guns. One of them was arrested while in hiding at a wadia in Walli Matagama. The second shooter, Galwala Gamage Hassan Anuradha, was taken into custody in the same area this afternoon. All 5 suspects are in custody. It has been revealed that the chief suspect had offered a contract for the killing of the Thera, offering to pay 3 million rupees.
Following interrogation by the Tangol Crime Division, the suspects were brought to the Kataragama police at around 1:30 this afternoon. The suspects were produced before the Tissa Maharama Magistrate this afternoon. On the night of the 12th of this month, Venerable Kobawaka Damminda Thera and another monk who was accompanying him were shot and wounded near the Kirivehera Chaitya. A spokesperson at the National Hospital in Colombo said the Thera is showing gradual improvement. The other monk who was receiving treatment at the Hambantota Hospital has been discharged. Investigations have revealed that Perpetual Treasuries Limited carried out 46,000 transactions between 2015 and 2017.
The Criminal Investigations Department has revealed that on certain occasions, checks drawn from these transactions were cashed by individuals who are not named on the check. It has also been revealed that in certain instances, only initials had been used in these transactions. The CID noted that this information had come to light in the course of an investigation based on a complaint lodged by the Governor of the Central Bank in 2016. Meanwhile, Parliament is called on the Secretary to the President to release all annexes of the report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry on Bond Issuances to Parliament. Secretary-General of Parliament, Dhammika Dasanayake, noted that a letter had been addressed to the Secretary to the President, Austin Fernando, last week. He added that once the annexes are submitted, Speaker Karujai Surya would decide on a future course of action. Newsfirst made inquiries regarding this matter from the Secretary to the President, Austin Fernando. He said that a response would be submitted in Parliament tomorrow. Fernando added that all future steps regarding the bond report and its appendices would be taken into consultation with the Attorney General.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa visited Anuradhapura today.
The former president paid homage to the sacred Jayasri Hima Bodhi, following which he called on the chief incumbent of the Swarnamali Mahachaitya, Venerable Pallegama Hemaratna Thera. Rajapaksa also responded to questions from journalists who had gathered at the premises.
This is how it happens usually, but Venerable Madhagoda Abhayatissa Thera made a clear statement yesterday, and I believe this is correct. Because when it is not necessary to remove a monk's robe, it need not be removed. This is being done by this government, isn't it? At times I wonder whether the government themselves are attempting to present Jnanasara Thera in another way. In truth, the government should be accountable for this. If the underworld is carrying out murders, the government should know how to stop it. The government must act through the police. If the IGP is caught up in his meditation, then this cannot be done. Yes, he is gone. They are only investigating the others. They are only investigating us.
Speaking at an event held in Dumbala yesterday, Deputy Minister Nalin Bandara had this to say.
I heard Basil giving the strongest condemnation of Gotabaya. Basil said that a shooting was carried out in Ratupasala and he noted that the incidents in Katunayaka and Chilau should not have happened. Today, within Mahinda Rajapaksa's family or within the joint opposition, there is a major crisis regarding the 2020 presidential election. On the one hand, Basil Rajapaksa is watching and waiting, while on the other hand, Gotabaya Rajapaksa is also waiting. Namal is not in favour of either of them. Mahinda Rajapaksa is confused and he is wondering who he should give it to.
Speaking at an event held in Colombo today, MP Ravi Khananayaka commented on the leadership of the United National Party.
A Shramadana had been jointly organized today by the Blue Medal Police and the Colombo Municipal Council under the Colombo North Rapid Urban Development Project.
No matter what my status is, I will stand with the people. We do not need these positions. We do not come here for positions. If we have the position, it is easier. Those who have been given positions are not working. In this instance, politics has fallen to its lowest level. A major tremor has gripped the party today. Trust has been violated. There is a need for correct leadership. That is what is needed at this moment. What is needed is not simply answers to soothe minds. What is needed is true leadership that can foster trust among the people.
Venerable L.A. Gunawan Sathara expressed these views while attending a function in Colombo yesterday.
We need an election very soon. Some talk about a presidential election. Some others say various other stories. We prefer if we are given a general election first. This country is being auctioned off at present. It would be better if this country is handed over to professional auctioneers like Shockman and Samara Vikrama. At least they would announce it and do the auction, but now they sell it in the secrecy of the night. They say 15,000 acres from Hambantota, 5,000 acres from Sampur. Finally, a few coconut trees would be left from somewhere in Kurunegala. Whoever is elected leader, we will not let them play around. We obeyed everyone from 1948. We will not allow this game to continue.
The 80th model village of the Sameta 7 housing project built in the Siambalagasville area in Hambantota was vested in the public this morning under the auspices of the Deputy Leader of the UNP and Minister of Housing and Construction, Sajid Premadasa.
The new village comprising of 18 houses is named Setpuragama Udagamanya. The minister handed over land deeds to the people at this occasion. In line with the program, housing loans, equipment for self-employment and spectacles were also distributed at the function. I would like to ask, where is the justice in this election system? Alcohol, illegal alcohol and biryani can be distributed, but you cannot give a bus to a school. It is prohibited to build Sunday school buildings at the temple. Now these people are saying that if elections are not held, democracy is in jeopardy. I would like to tell the Elections Commissioner and the election officials that the topic is not democracy in danger, but the existing election system. It is sad to see the manner in which an election is held. The whole process is shameless. It is allowed to distribute arak, but there are limitations to build a Sunday school. It is allowed to give free food, but not allowed to give some benefits to students.
The operation to relocate 2 wild elephants from the Singaraja rainforest has been halted. Subject Minister Sarath Fonseca said the decision to halt the operation was made on the instructions of the President.
The operation got underway on the 15th of this month, targeting the Kalawana, Rajavatta and Kopikale areas bordering the Singaraja rainforest. The operation continued into the early hours of this morning. However, the President had recently instructed the Secretary to the Ministry of Environment and the Director General of Wildlife to continue to allow the 2 elephants roaming in the Singaraja rainforest to remain there until a proper system is prepared and a decision is made.
I received a phone call from the President at 7:30 a.m. He called me from Polonnaru and asked me what was happening with the operation to capture the elephants. I said the mission was going on legally and that the location of the elephants had been identified and they were being pushed into an area where they could be caught. I informed him that temporary arrangements had been made to relocate them to Horopatana. Then he informed me that he had received many phone calls from people saying it would be a major problem if the animals were taken to Horopatana. I told him that our veterinarians had not informed me of such a problem and that they would be given special security, food and water. I noted that if it is not done, no one will be held accountable for the lives of these two animals. Then he informed me to allow the two elephants to remain there until proper premises are allocated within Singharaja. However, I must note that in the 3 months until the elephants are taken to a suitable area, I will not be held accountable for the two elephants or for the lives of the villagers. All of those who shouted against the relocation of the elephants must take this responsibility.
The Assistant Director of Wildlife in charge of the southern and Uber provinces noted that steps are being taken to identify a protected area for the two elephants.
Our staff have been put in position to control the situation if the elephants enter the villages and damage crops and property. Instructions have been issued for teams to be deployed. A field examination is to be carried out to determine whether there is a safe place to locate these animals within the next 2 days and to inquire into the feasibility of an electric fence.
Meanwhile, a group from the Environment and Nature Studies Centres staged a protest in Brambuka, Potupitiya in Kalawana this morning, demanding that the relocation of the elephants be stopped. They were confronted by a group of villagers, prompting the police to intervene to restore calm.
Monks who cry crocodile tears. These people should be struck by lightning. Remove your posters. If a man is attacked by an elephant and killed tomorrow, we will bring the body to your temple. The Deputy Minister made a statement today that no one is taking responsibility for the lives of the elephants or the people. So if something happens to us, who can we tell?
The Ministry of Finance issuing a release says that the heads of state institutions should be responsible for paying salaries to excess employees in the state sector.
The release says the government has decided that the secretaries to ministries, heads of departments, chairpersons, executive officers and accountants of government institutions should take the responsibility of paying salaries to redundant workers they have employed in addition to the approved cadre. At the same time, the Cabinet has also decided that making relevant statutory payments in time, such as contributions to Employees Provident Fund and Employees Trust Fund of state corporations, statutory boards and government-owned companies, is also the responsibility of such institutions. The release says it is reported that there are over 7,500 personnel employed in various government institutions above the cadre positions approved by the Management Services Department of the Treasury. The Ministry of Finance says there are currently 1,375,499 public servants employed in the entire state sector, including government ministries, departments, provincial councils and local government institutions, as well as other public enterprises, government-owned institutions and state banks at the end of 2017. During the year 2017 alone, 23,224 people have been recruited to the state service. At the same time, 5,000 public servants have retired and another 246 have been dismissed on various disciplinary actions. The Finance Ministry adds that there are 74,872 approved positions for the Development Officers Service in the state sector and nearly 18,000 of these positions are currently vacant.
Taking a look at a developing story this evening, one person was killed after being shot by a police officer, purportedly in self-defense during a brawl in Thelipali, Jaffna. We have just received the following footage from our correspondent in the area. According to police media spokesperson SP Gunasekara, the two policemen had been escorting the body of a drowning victim in the Thelipali hospital, where they had stopped at the Malakam junction to resolve a clash between two groups. Gunasekara said the two officers were set upon by the brawlers armed with swords when they opened fire. Two others were also injured in the brawl. The footage you are viewing now was just sent to us by our correspondent in Jaffna. Stay with News First as we bring you more on this developing story. Also in local news, the Right to Information Commission or the RTIC has ruled Sri Lankan Airlines top management salaries should be released to the Airline Pilots Guild of Sri Lanka.
The Sunday Times reported the Commission has ordered the national carrier to disclose the cost of flying training met by the company on behalf of its former Chief Executive Officer Suren Ratwatta. Newsfirst also requested the salary particulars of the top management of Sri Lankan Airlines, taking into consideration the national importance of such details. Sri Lankan Airlines responded, claiming that the institution does not give consent to disclose any of the requested information. The information officer at Sri Lankan refused to provide information on the grounds that such information was exempted from being granted under Section 5 of the Right to Information Act. If the top management had nothing to conceal, they could have released these details to the general public. Presently, the Commission has also called for the release of all agreements entered into for the wet lease of its A330 aircraft to Pakistan International Airline, and it directed the divulging of information related to the rental of several A350 Airbuses from AirCap and subsequent cancellation of those leases as the matter is concluded. Newsfirst on several occasions reported on the mismanagement and the ad hoc decision making of the top management of the national carrier when leasing aircraft to Pakistan International Airlines last year. The newspaper reports Sri Lankan had cited confidentiality clauses with Pakistan International Airlines and AirCap to block the release of those agreements. The RTIC order, however, was that a confidentiality clause by itself could not prevent the disclosure of information after the contract or agreement had been awarded and where the accountability of public funds and the transparency of the public authority are in issue. Sri Lankan Airlines was instructed to report back to the Commission by the 3rd of July with regard to the status of adherence to the order. Meanwhile, citing information obtained by the way of an RTI application to the Ministry of Finance, the Sunday Times reported that Sri Lanka has obtained loans from China amounting to more than 1,029 billion rupees or $8.2 billion in the period of 2005 to 2017. The loans have been taken from the China Development Bank Corporation and the Exim Bank of China and have been for major projects such as highways, power plants, water supply and sewage schemes.
As trade union representatives, we have a national responsibility to look into actions where the money of the people of this country are being wasted. The people's money is being spent to cancel lease agreements. The chief officers go on retirement and their pension is paid using public money. They pay salaries to these people in millions using the money that belongs to the people. That is why we say that the information that has been requested has to be released, taking into consideration the people of the country. The information has to be provided to the trade unions who have a national responsibility to look into these matters.
Engineers on the Umaoya multi-purpose development project say it will take about another year to complete work on the project. The project is reportedly being delayed due to a continuing leak which sprung during excavation on the Karalgoda tunnel.
The Umaoya project, which has undertaken in spite of public protest, is in its final stages. The project was initiated in 2008 and was financed by the Iran Export Development Bank. Environmentalists have consistently maintained that the project engineers have not taken steps to prevent the harm that would be caused to catchment areas in the Central Hills as a result of this project. On the instructions of the President, a team of Norwegian specialists examined the project. Water which collects in the Daramba and Puhulpola reservoirs built across the Baduloya is brought to Karandagolla via a 23-kilometer long underground tunnel. The first leak sprung in the tunnel in December 2014.
We will be able to complete the digging within another year and 3 months. If we find more springs, it may take a little longer.
Work on about 8 kilometers of the Karandagolla tunnel has been completed. About 500 to 600 litres of water is leaking from the tunnel per second. Newsfirst looked into the ongoing excavation work on the tunnel. Digging on the tunnel has been limited to 2 or 3 meters per day due to the leak, while steps are being taken to gradually stop the leak. Our correspondent Chandana Kuruparachi faced an uphill task in recording footage. While this excavation is happening underground, how has it impacted the scenic waterfalls, catchment areas and the day-to-day life of the people? News First special report continues tomorrow.
Minister of Health Dr. Rajatha Senaratne declared open a new emergency care unit at the Batikalo Teaching Hospital. At the event, the minister expressed the following views.
The UNICEF, the WHO, they all have actually complemented our policies. Even the WHO says that the best policy is now here. It is due to the robust political leadership of the country, they have said. So therefore, we are giving best to our people on health and even other things, education. I don't know how many people know that all your children are being insured. All the students in the country, 4.3 million people, students are being insured for 2 lakhs. Any students has any illness, 10,000 rupees will be up to 10,000 rupees worth of treatment will be given by the OPD. The bill will be paid by the government. 100,000 hospital bill will be paid by the government to our insurance. These are the things that we have done for the last 3 years.
Several religious activities will be held centering the Mihintale Rajama Viharya in line with the Poson Poya.
The Mahinda Gamanaya marks the beginning of the Buddhist civilization in Sri Lanka. Poson Poya Day takes on a special significance for Sri Lanka as it is considered to be the day that the Arahat Mahinda brought Buddhism to the country. The Mahinda Gamanaya, as it is known, brought about a major social, cultural and economic transformation in Sri Lanka. This year too, the National Poson Festival will take place in the environs of the Mihintale Rajamaha Viharya.
With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Weekend Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.